Yes, and right now we are joined by Darren Farfante of Buchanan, Ingersoll, and Rooney. And welcome, Darren, to ABI's annual spring meeting.
Thank you.
And we'd like to talk to you about the ABC certification process. First, why did you decide to become ABC certified?
Sure. I arrived at my firm after being a government litigator for a few years, and a couple of attorneys at my firm were certified. I felt like they were the attorneys that I wanted to emulate, so I immediately started the process of learning more about certification, and I figured by doing that it would put me in a position where I was recognized both internally in the firm and outside as someone who was certified and experienced in the area.
Excellent. And what did you think of the process of becoming ABC certified?
The process was straightforward. I would tell you, I thought the application was almost as difficult as the exam because it's very thorough and it requires a lot of information about both your background and experience, but it gave me the opportunity to go through and accumulate all that. Very thorough.
Was it easier or harder than what you expected?
I thought the application was time consuming, a little bit more involved than I expected, but the entire process in and of itself was as expected.
Yes, and what about your experience with the exam? You mentioned the application process. What was your thought? Was it as easy or as hard in terms of taking the actual exam itself?
I studied for the exam, and I can tell you the actual exam itself, I probably wrote more in the blue book than I had written with a pen since law school. I remember my hand just cramping up during the process because I was writing and writing. But I was pleasantly surprised that the exam did basically bring out the totality of my experience, because I had that opportunity during the exam on all the questions to cite to different matters I had handled and how I had handled them under state law as well. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was very comprehensive.
Mm-hmm. And now that you've become certified, tell me, has this increased your standing or prestige within the bankruptcy community?
Certainly. I think it gives you the opportunity to let others know that you've taken the time to get certified and that you're competent and peer recognized as someone who has a specialty and expertise in your field.
Mm-hmm. And how would you say that the certification has helped to expand your clientele or work within the firm?
I think it immediately sets you apart. It's one additional thing you can do to set yourself apart from your peers, and I think it gives someone the immediate comfort that you have the ability to handle that subject matter well.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And what would you say really sets being certified apart in terms of being an attorney?
I think it's the attention to both your practice area and the level of experience that you need. The certification the requirements require an extensive amount of experience in a broad array of matters within your expertise. So you can't be sort of pigeonholed in an area. You really have to show that you've handled matters in distinct different areas. And I think it gives everyone from the outside looking in the ability to feel comfortable that you have that broad range of experience in your area.
Mm-hmm. And just expanding on that experience, what would you say certification says about the level of professionalism and amount of ethics, especially that you studied going into the exam? How would you say that sets you apart in terms of professionalism, ethics, and experience?
Well, I think part of the certification requires you to reach out to attorneys that you've worked with both as peers and mentors and also against as adversaries, and that certification requires you to get recommendations from them. So it speaks to the level of professionalism you practice with, because you need to reach out to people you've worked against and get a recommendation from them, and that in and of itself requires you to have that kind of reputation and prestige in your area for people to be able to recommend, even though in an adversarial context they're opponents. They are working with you, and it's a process where you're recognized as someone who is fair, although competent, but fair to work with.
Okay. Well, excellent. Darren, thank you very much for your time and talking about your experience in becoming ABC certified.
Thank you.